All right, let's talk about something that is deeply, deeply uncomfortable, but also pretty fascinating. That urge to laugh at the absolute worst possible moment. We're going to dive in and figure out why on earth our brains do this.
You know the feeling, right? You're in a deadly serious situation, someone's giving you terrible news, and you feel it, that unstoppable bubble of laughter just rising up from your chest. It is mortifying.
And oh man, the looks you get. People instantly think you're being rude, that you don't care, that you're just being immature. It can leave you feeling so guilty and just completely misunderstood for something you literally couldn't control.
But what if I told you that reaction isn't a character flaw? What if it's actually a sign of a highly sensitive brain that's just working overtime to protect you? Well, psychology offers a totally different and frankly, much more compassionate explanation.
So let's get right to the heart of it. That involuntary urge to laugh feels so wrong in the moment, but it's actually an incredibly sophisticated stress response. It has nothing to do with finding something funny. It's all about survival.
First, let's just look at what's happening on a purely physical level. Think of your brain in that tense moment like a pressure cooker. The steam is building and building and building, and it desperately needs a release valve before the whole thing blows. See, when you're under that much emotional pressure, whether it's from shock or stress or anxiety, that tension builds up to a point where your nervous system basically registers it as a danger signal. It has to do something to get that pressure down, and it has to do it fast.
And this is the tool it uses, the parasympathetic nervous system. That's just the technical term for your body's built-in calm down button. Its job is to slow your heart rate, to lower stress, and to tell your body, hey, it's safe. And believe it or not, laughter is one of the fastest ways to kick that system into gear.
And this is the absolute crucial point here. The laughter is not an emotional reaction to what's happening around you. It's a biological tool. Your body is basically hijacking your system to force a laugh, just to get your heart rate down and stop you from having a complete stress meltdown.
Okay, so that's what your body is doing. But what's happening inside your mind? Well, that's the next layer, and it involves a really powerful psychological defense mechanism called displacement.
So displacement is a classic idea from psychology. The basic idea is that when an emotion is just too big, too overwhelming, or maybe too socially unsafe to let out, your brain doesn't just make it disappear. Instead, it redirects all that intense energy into something else, something more acceptable.
And this slide just breaks it down perfectly. First, boom, you get hit with this huge wave of shock or fear. Then, your brain does a split-second calculation and decides, nope, screaming or crying is not a safe option right now. But all that raw energy has to go somewhere, so it gets rerouted, and what does it emerge as? A completely bizarre, out-of-place laugh. Now, this next part is maybe the most important piece of the whole puzzle, because it completely flips the biggest misconception about awkward laughter on its head. It turns out it's not about a lack of empathy. It can actually be about having too much.
And this right here just illustrates that paradox perfectly. Everyone around you thinks you're laughing because you don't care, but the psychological reality, you might be laughing precisely because you care so much that your emotional circuits have literally shorted out.
Yeah, far from being a sign that you're cold or unfeeling, this response is often found in people who are highly emotionally sensitive. They feel things more deeply, the stress response gets triggered faster, and sometimes the emotional input is just too intense for their system to process in a, normal way.
Let this one really sink in. You are not laughing at what is happening. You are laughing because of what is happening inside of you. A complete and total overload, an absolute flood of empathy that your brain just cannot contain.
There's one more job this weird laughter does, and it's more of a mental thing. Your brain isn't just trying to manage your body, it's also trying to protect your mind and keep you from losing control.
You know how when things get really serious, your mind can just start spiraling into all the what ifs and oh my gods? Well, your brain recognizes that you're getting close to a breaking point, and it needs to hit the emergency brake. Laughter acts like a pattern interrupt. It's a quick mental reboot to stop those thoughts from completely taking over.
And of course, social pressure makes it a million times worse. We tend to feel this urge way more when we're in a situation where we know we're supposed to be serious and composed. That feeling of restriction just builds up even more pent-up energy, which has to leak out somehow. And it does as laughter. It's especially true for people who are really tuned into social dynamics and feel that weight of expectation.
So let's bring this all together into one final and I hope really empowering message. If you've spent your life feeling guilty or ashamed about this, it is time to let that go. You have to stop calling this immaturity, stop thinking of it as a lack of control. You need to reframe it for what it actually is: a highly sophisticated automatic survival mechanism that's hardwired into your brain.
This is the key takeaway, right here. It is not a sign that you're a rude person. It is not a sign that there's something wrong with you. It is a sign of a sensitive nervous system doing its absolute best to cope with the situation that is just emotionally overwhelming.
So, the next time it happens, or the next time you feel that urge, please remember this. You are not a bad person. You are not broken. You are a human being, processing incredibly deep and complex emotions in real time. And your brain is just using one of its most powerful, if awkward, tools to keep you safe.
It kind of changes everything, doesn't it? Just knowing the real science behind this can lift such a huge weight of guilt. So, how are you going to think about this reflex, both in yourself and maybe when you see it in others, from now on?